Intermittent fasting works the same for women as it does for men.
I'm not against intermittent fasting for women, but men see amazing results with it.
If the scale isn't moving, your program isn't working.
5 pounds of fat can look like this, and 5 pounds of muscle can look like this. You could weigh the same and you could look completely different.
Consistency beats intensity for women over 40.
So many people give up before the real magic happens. This is a marathon. We are in it for the long haul. So instead of putting a deadline on, losing weight, look at this as your new lifestyle.
Okay, Sarah, welcome back. We are playing a little fun game if you are up for it.
Love to.
This game, which I'm sure you will pass with flying colors, is called That's a Myth or That's Method. So basically, I will read a prompt to you and you let me know if you think it's a myth, which we should not believe, or if it's method and you think if it's done correctly, we should definitely implement this tool into our life. So are you ready?
Sure.
Okay. The first one is if you're gaining weight in midlife, you're probably just eating too much. Is that a myth or is that method?
Myth. There's so much that goes into why you might be gaining weight. I never think that it's just one thing. It could be that you're eating too much, but it could also be that your blood sugar is dysregulated, or your cortisol is too high, or your hormones are going crazy, or you're not moving enough, or there's so many things that go into it. I would never just say that it's that one thing.
Okay. And we should always get our hormones checked by the doctor too, right?
Yeah, and you can go by symptoms too. There's a lot to how you are personally feeling, but it does help also to get blood work.
Oh, what about for that menopause belly? You know that the belly that comes, I feel like for everybody, 90% of the people out there, how do we get rid of that belly?
Yeah. So nutrition is going to be number one. You're going to want to focus on your proteins, fats, and carbs, getting the right amount of each of those. And then workouts would be second. You want to build muscle and do short HIIT, and then do some walking and really work on your cortisol, because believe it or not, cortisol can also cause you to store belly fat.
Oof, we do not like that. So those are some
No.
good tips.
Yeah.
Okay. The next one. Carbs after 40 years old automatically turn into fat.
Myth. Oh my gosh, we need carbs. We need carbs for thyroid support. We need them for energy, building muscle. Especially if you are working out, you need probably more carbs than if you're not working out. But that doesn't mean you need to go and eat a bunch of donuts. But when I think of carbs, I think of sweet potatoes, rice, oatmeal, fruit, veggies. Those things are super healthy for us. And yes, you have to pay attention to the amounts, but carbs are not the enemy.
Good point. You need to work out harder as you age to stay lean.
Oh, myth. I think it's the opposite. I think we have to really care for our bodies. And I think we have to work smarter rather than harder. So doing the right exercise, it doesn't have to take a lot of time. It doesn't have to be this really hard class where you're just depleting yourself, because that's only going to backfire.
Mhm. Intermittent fasting works the same for women as it does for men.
Ooh, myth. I'm not against intermittent fasting for women, but men see amazing results with it. I mean, I have men or husbands of my clients who they will start fasting and they just like drop weight like it's nothing. So, but we have very complicated bodies, as you know, and there's a lot going on with us, whether it's hormone fluctuations or stress on our body, or not sleeping well, thyroid issues. These are all things that we have to take into consideration when we're talking about fasting.
Okay, good point. If the scale isn't moving, your program isn't working.
Myth, for sure. If you think about it, 5 pounds of fat can look like this, and 5 pounds of muscle can look like this. So you could weigh the same and you could look completely different. You could fit into your clothes differently. You could look different, feel different. So I always like to go by pictures and how you look and how you're fitting in clothes, and even more importantly, how you're feeling.
Yes. Oh my gosh. That's so key because if you don't feel good, it doesn't matter how you look. It's like you
Right.
have to actually feel good to really make it count? Um, so, okay, the next one. Strength training is optional if you walk a lot.
Myth, because you need muscle. Muscle is your what they call organ of longevity. If you want to be able to get up off of the toilet when you're older, if you want to be able to fight diseases that might come along, you need to have muscle on your body. And I really think it's a non negotiable as we age.
Plus, it helps you burn fat
Yeah.
easier, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's got a lot of great uses. Um,
Yeah.
so eating too little can actually stall fat loss in midlife.
Method. Yes, I do believe that because it can put a real stressor on your body. If your body's not getting the nutrients that it needs, you're not getting enough protein, you're not getting enough fiber, you're not getting micronutrients that really help your whole body to work in the way that it's meant to work. And then it can also be a stressor on another stressor that can cause that cortisol, that blood sugar to be dysregulated. So there's really a fine line, and it's even when it comes to fat loss, you don't want to be eating too much, but you certainly don't want to be eating too little.
Absolutely. And oh, I forgot to ask you this. Like with cortisol, if it's spiking, does that cause inflammation in your body?
Okay, so cortisol isn't all bad. We do need cortisol. It's what wakes us up in the morning. It gives you that drive. It has a purpose in our body. It's just we don't want it to be chronically elevated, because when that happens, it can really mess with your blood sugar, which in turn can make you store fat.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
So with cortisol, you start like this in the morning. So it kind of goes in a bell curve, and it's on its way up in the morning. As you're waking up, it gets you up, it kind of peaks, and then it should be going back down as you get ready to go to sleep.
Okay. And that's when the melatonin then kicks in for
Mhm.
nighttime. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Perimenopause changes how your body responds to stress, even from workouts.
Method. Yeah, for sure. For sure. And that's why we're all so different when it comes to these things. And you have to really pay attention to how it's affecting your body. Not everybody can do, even the clients that I have, and I'll prescribe, I'll say 2 HIIT workouts a week, and not everybody can even do that. So everybody is unique in how they can handle the stressors. We want to be preventing injury too. So we don't want, we want to make sure we're doing that mobility, stretching, really warming up before workouts, because our bodies have changed and we're more prone to injury, and it can be too much of a stressor if you're doing too much, if you're going overboard, and even doing what you were doing in your 30s.
I'm so glad you're bringing up stretching too, because I think it's important, like you're saying, to stretch before and after your workout. You have to do both.
Yes. Yeah. It's so important because we're so much more prone to those joints and ligaments, that we want to be careful. So
100%. Um, Protein matters more in midlife than it did in your 30s.
I say method. I say yes because it's harder to build muscle the older that you get. So we don't have the estrogen that we had in our 20s and 30s to help us build that muscle. And so we need protein in order to build muscle. And it's also going to keep you, full and keep you from snacking and a whole bunch of other great things that it does for us. But really with that muscle building, and helps with the blood sugar too, that can become an issue, the insulin resistance that can become an issue too.
I think you bring up an important point too with estrogen and muscle building because they do go hand in hand. Estrogen is helpful for building muscle,
Yes.
right?
And if we're not actively building muscle, we're losing it. You're losing 5 to 8% every decade after it's like 35. So we want to be actively building it.
And with the GLPs too, because I know a lot of people are taking the GLP-1s. It's
Oh,
important to continually
100%.
build muscle while you're taking those, right?
Even more important for those people who are on GLP-1s because they are losing so much weight that when you lose weight, you do lose muscle too. So you want to, and if you're losing a lot of weight, you're going to lose a lot of muscle if you're not actively trying to build it. And you do that through strength training and eating enough protein.
Consistency beats intensity for women over 40.
Method, 100%. Yeah. I think, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to go all out and kill yourself in your workouts or go super low carb, no calorie, restrictive, hardcore. You don't have to be hardcore. You just have to be consistent. And that is really what works.
Yeah, you just have to be consistent in showing up. So if you can squeeze in what 10 minutes here, even, however long, just to like do it repetitively because that builds the momentum.
Exactly. Yes. And then the more you show up and the more you do it, the more you crave it. It becomes something that same with, whether it's workouts or nutrition or anything, the more you do it, the more it just becomes part of who you are instead of like this thing you have to do. So, and that's so many people give up before the real magic happens. They go, 3-4 weeks and they're like, oh, I don't see anything happening. And sometimes it does take longer than that, especially at this age, and depending on what you have going on. But you can't look at your health and fitness as something that you're just doing, like a race. It's not a race there's no finish line. This is a marathon. We are in it for the long haul. So instead of putting a deadline on, losing weight, look at this as your new lifestyle.
Yeah, what do you say? Because it is a long game, like you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
because so many people are making their New Year's resolutions right now. They're like signing up for classes, they're doing like the home delivery meal plans. They're trying all these things, but a lot of them will fall off by
Mm-hmm.
next month, like, so what do you say to people like that want to make the change, but maybe might not stick with it?
Well, it needs to be something you can sustain, right? So it doesn't mean that whatever you're doing, you have to do forever, but how can you work it into your life? Like, how can you make this work so that it doesn't feel like work? It doesn't feel restrictive or, like something that you like, something that you enjoy, that you can come to enjoy after doing it for a little while, that it just kind of fits into what you do. Because if you can't enjoy it and you can't, make it fit, you'll never stay consistent. So I love a New Year's resolution or a getting started. There's excitement around it. Anything that, gets you kind of motivated to start, but motivation goes away. Willpower goes away. That's why you have to put the habits in place, and so that you can really fall back on those when you're not feeling motivated, to do it as the weeks go on.
Yeah, and it's always good to have like a workout buddy or like a nutrition
Yeah.
buddy, right? A friend that might be going along with you to do it.
Yeah, or accountability, any type of accountability. I have a lot of clients who will come back to me because they're like, I thought I could do this on my own and I just kept quitting on myself. But if you have that accountability, you're less likely to quit on somebody else. It's easy to quit on yourself, but when somebody, you got to answer to somebody else, that can keep you going too.
100%. 100%. So if a client wants to book with you, is it just as simple as going to your website and going through there?
Yeah, they can go to Sara Preston Healthy Living, or the best way, I love to chat with you before you would sign up. So sending me a DM on Instagram is usually the best way.
Oh, great. At Sara Preston.
Sara Preston Healthy Living.
Sara
Yeah.
Preston Healthy Living. Yes,
Yep,
guys.
Sarah, no H.
No
Sarah, no
H.
H.
You like it. Just the Sarah with the A at the end.
Yes. Yes.
Well, guys, definitely check Sara out because she's amazing. She has great tips. And please don't forget to rate, subscribe, and comment on your favorite podcast app so we can join together. We can get more women in this community and just be there for one another. It's amazing. So, power in numbers.
Absolutely. Especially at this age, we need to stick together.
Yes, yes, 100%. Well, thank you so much, Sara. You are so amazing.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.